wheel. Carl, good afternoon.
Afternoon, how are you?
Very good, sir. Tell us a little bit about this car, why it's so special, and this particular model in general. What do you see in terms of the market situation for these cars?
Well, this car is a late example of the Mark III Ford GT. Incredibly rare car being replaced by which this is. And also, it's your step into the hypercar world for not-hypercar money.
Yeah, why do you think that is, Carl? Because obviously the predecessors, the Ford GTs, which were V8, and they had a similar situation, but now they've started to come back up again in value. So, do you think the same thing will happen to these two?
Well, those cars don't go in value because they're very analog, they're manual, they're muscle car. This is very different. A V60 produced, the aerodynamics of a Formula 1 car, basically, which is on the track. This is
They also went to Le Mans with this car and had huge success in sports car racing. Do you think, obviously, long term, that's something to consider for the collector?
Oh, 100%. The Ford GT40, the Ford GT as a whole carries such kudos in the demand. Any racing company to go with a car like this will be
100%. Obviously, you deal with supercars from every era, every different sort of sphere. Where do you see the market at the moment in general, and what are your thoughts for the coming years ahead?
The market in general at the minute is fantastic. Absolutely bizarre how good it is. Anything that Ferrari does at the minute is going absolutely which makes every other brand look cheap in comparison, so they're now being escalated with it. So where's it going to go? I'm not sure. At the minute it's just going up, so let me get time to roll.
Alright, thanks Carl, great to see you. Ford GT from Tom Hartley, ladies and gentlemen. And what a great looking car. You stand behind it and you just sort of get a sense of the aerodynamics that go through that car. Is very, very special indeed. Right, so we go from Americana to Americana, but a slightly different era, ladies and gentlemen, in the form of the AC Cobra. This is brought to us today from Nigel Brown, he's the and from Massive Car. Nigel, good afternoon. Now you're breathing on me with your exhaust pipe there, sorry. It's warm in here. You can turn it off if you want to, but I mean, it sounds so good. This is a proper Cobra, so tell us a little bit about this car. So this is actually these cars have seen somewhat of a bump in value in the last 12 months. What do you put that down to?
They're just such a big icon generation in the sort of 90s, 2000s cars have really taken up recently. There's been some very big records recently for these cars. So the market's grown a bit, and it's very rare to see them come up for sale now. I think we're going to be marketing this car today for sale. Very unique that it's pushed the Rosso Scuderia rather than the regular Rosso Corsa. So one of those cars with colour-coded bumpers on the back of the car rather than
V12. Do you think part of their popularity at the moment is to do with a kind of break away from the hybrid technology and the kind of complication of the more modern hypercars?
Yeah, it's a raw driver's car. Not going on in the end with air conditioning and a system. Yeah, drive a car with a big engine behind you. It's an analog culture. I think a lot of buyers now are going back to the slightly earlier cars that were on the hybrid car, which are great cars, they're fast, but nothing beats a displacement.
100%, but you're talking over 600 horsepower, V12, and normally aspirated. It doesn't get much better, right?
Great sounding car.
There you go. Brandon, thank you very much indeed. Brandon from Joe McCarry's Engine. Have a chat if you would like to acquire a Ferrari Enzo. As you can see, it's getting a lot of attention. Rightfully so. What a beautiful car. And just okay. Onwards. We have a Chevrolet Corvette C3, and this is brought to us today from Graham Hunt, and it is Charlie Rolls at the wheel. Charlie, you look like you could look over the windscreen to see out of this car.
I can, and I absolutely know very little about this. That's other Charlie.
Okay, but other Charlie, that should come round. Thank you very much. Great colour, ladies and gentlemen. C3 Corvette T-Top C3.
Yeah, so I'll pass you back over to that side. But yeah, nice to see Stingray, as you say. Yeah, probably a couple.
These are as good as it gets in terms of Americana at a price point, right? They're still incredibly good value relative to other cars of this displacement, of this performance. But yeah, fantastic cars.
Yeah, absolutely. We were saying we chatted earlier with William Hunt and Graham Hunt, and yeah, it's very much
And it is for sale, and you guys are marketing it today. So anyone who can come and find you, where are you based on the show floor today?
We're based just over there by the caviar stand, which you should be at anyway. You know.
Very appropriate. Thank you very much, gents. Nearly. You can actually see over the windscreen. It's fantastic. Okay, I'm going to go to the left-hand side of this one because this is left-hand drive as well. Of course, and it is Mr. Dan Cogger from Biskins. Hello, Dan. Can I come and sit next to you? Yeah, I'm going to come and sit next to him because, of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chiron, but it's a very special Chiron, and I'll do my best not to scuff the lovely Alcantara. Dan, this is a Chiron, but not an ordinary one. Tell us a little bit about it, please.
This is a Chiron Sport as a base model, but one of the special editions, the 110 anniversary. So there's only 20 of these.
And performance-wise, this could pretty much obliterate anything else that we've seen today, perhaps?
I think anything else in the country, to be honest. Yeah. 261 miles an hour. Is that fast enough?
Limited, or
I think only by your bravery. Yeah.
amazing vehicles? Bugatti of this era, they're not going to make any more of these vehicles, are they? This is kind of the last of the V16 normally, well, not normally actually, of course, but non-hybrid, non-electric Bugattis they're going to build. So where do you see the market for these in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, these are going to be, as you say, the last of the dinosaurs, aren't they? They're going to be the best possible way. Even though it has got it's turbocharged, it's not naturally aspirated. The thing I didn't expect about this car is its sense of humour, because when you do back off the throttle, it's like being chased by 4 rally cars with turbo noises. It's phenomenal. So I think the future in these cars is, having moved on from the Veyron, which was already a fantastic car, the engineering that went into making this actually usable. I think if somebody wants a car that can go to 260 plus miles an hour, it's got 1500 horsepower, it's actually going to want. But actually a car you can go and use and drive. It's just like driving a Conti GT around town, which it's hard to believe. But that's where you see the engineering. I think it's very easy to make a car go in a straight line. It's really difficult to make one as usable as this. And to my mind, if I had one of these and lived on the continent, I wouldn't fly short haul. I'd take a shot. That's as simple as that.
Amazing. And obviously Biskins is down the road, South End. So actually, you've got some real-world experience from this car, driving it from South End to Chelsea through the traffic. What's it like? What was the reaction that you get from it?
I was prepared to be heavily disliked driving this car, but actually people love it. I think there are there are downsides to being in something that's obviously very valuable and everything else, but everyone loves it because you just don't see them because there are only 20 of them. So we're welcome with open arms everywhere.
Dan Cocker, ladies and gentlemen, from this one, I'm going to have to get out now, which is going to be quite graceful, I'm sure. But thank you very much, Dan. That's amazing. Lots of carbon, as you can see. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Dan Cocker from Friskins, ladies and gentlemen, with the Shiro. Wow, W16, ladies and gentlemen, just a masterpiece of engineering, and you will not, sadly, see something like that built again, I suspect. Okay, so from the sublime to the ridiculous. No, sorry. So from the sublime to a Range Rover, ladies and gentlemen, the parties. Come on, you're creeping. Come on over. Parties of Hampton Court. Now this is a Range Rover, ladies and gentlemen. Very drivable. Now actually something that a lot of these people around us here can sort of relate to.
Possibly buy the change from the other cars.
That's very true. Tell us about your Range Rover, sir.
That was the last year of the ever popular L322, facelift version. Some say big Range Rover. It's 30 miles. Engine-wise, it's still exhausting. It's the balance between off-road capability and off-road luxury. And that's why it's love it. It's always enduring. It's very popular.
Thank you very much indeed for bringing it along. Ladies and gentlemen, the Range Rover, which you can buy today. One of the more affordable cars you can actually buy today, I would say. But thank you very much indeed for bringing it along. Okay, we go from Range Rovers, ladies and gentlemen, to 1960s glamour. And it's Howard Wise at the wheel. He's going to grab the microphone off me, I can almost assure you. He's going to steal this microphone and talk to us all about HW6. Oh, don't be ridiculous. There you go. Go on, Howard, take it away. So this is 60s glamour, V8 engine of course, a very nice lazy V8. What's it like to drive, Howard? Tell everyone.
It's smooth, very nice, easy. Got to just treat you with a bit of respect. But no, it's great. I don't know a lot of marketing.
Beautiful. Howard, thank you very much indeed for being on. What a glamorous passenger as well. Fantastic. Hello, Nikki. Lovely to meet you. Oh, lovely. A glamorous traffic jam indeed. Thank you, Howard. Good to see you. Okay, we go from 1960s Germany, ladies and gentlemen, to pre-war Britain in the form of a 1912 Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, driven by Richard Biddulph, ladies and gentlemen. This is the earliest vehicle I think we have here on display. And Richard is going to tell us a little bit more about it. Hello, Mr. Biddulph.
Afternoon. Yeah, you rightly say it is the oldest vehicle here. This car is 114 years old. Can I take that in? 114. I drove it yesterday down the M1 at 60 miles an hour to come here. So just incredible. Runs in silence. Starts first time every time. Just a magnificent machine.
In terms of Rolls-Royce from this era, you couldn't just go to Rolls-Royce and buy this car, could you? You buy the body separately to the chassis and the engine. So what is the body on this vehicle? Because obviously at this time, you bought the chassis and the engine, and that was it. You took the body to another company. Now, there were hundreds of bodybuilders at that time. Tell us a little bit about this particular coach body.
So this car was originally exported to Australia, had a Barker all-weather cabrio body fitted to it. As you rightly say, Rolls-Royce before the war didn't make any cars. They made only chassis and engines. And much as you go to Savile Row and choose the type of suit you're going to wear, you go to your bodybuilder of choice, Cooper, Parker, Parkwood, Sanchik, whoever it may be, and choose both what you wanted, the style, the interior fittings, whether you wanted leather, whether you wanted cloth, whether you wanted alligator skin, whatever you wanted, they do it for you. So fantastic history, and it makes each one unique and different. But this is Parker.
Fantastic. Richard, thank you so much for bringing the car along. It is a marvel of British engineering, is it not? And something that we should be very proud of in this country for having produced.
Yeah, I mean, it's quintessential Rolls Royce, I suppose. Everyone should learn one at some stage in their life. They're wonderful.
Richard, thank you very much for bringing it along. The Rolls Royce Silver Ghost, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you can barely hear it. It's so refined, it's so silent, it's so well engineered.
They're off the switch. I didn't use the starter though, but I mean, the front of the ignition, it flies right off down the shaft.
Amazing, amazing. Richard, thank you very much indeed. Great to see you. There it is, 1912 Silver Ghost, ladies and gentlemen. And we stick with pre-war, ladies and gentlemen, in the form of this absolutely stunning Bentley that we're about to see before us. With Will Stone at the wheel. Hello, Will. Hi. Tell us a bit about this lovely Bentley.
Well, this is a 1928 4.5 litre Bentley.
And what is the history? What is the provenance? What is the body? Go on, tell us.
Well, the body is quite nice to come up. It's not its original body, but it is
Now, pre-war, these cars obviously were made famous by winning Le Mans. What was it about the engineering behind Bentley that made them so good in the racing capacity?
we need to talk about reliability. The fact
Which was very well adhered to in the 24-hour format of the race at Le Mans. Amazing car, and thank you very much indeed for bringing it along. Lovely to see you both, as ever. And the sunshine, a day like today, this is about as good as it gets in terms of car you could drive around West London to the pub and just admire.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the children are up today, but they don't think about these embarrassing. So
They're a bit too old, aren't they now?
too young, a bit or too cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. You're welcome. You look so cool. Thank you so much. Will Stone, ladies and gentlemen. What a car from Will Stone. That is absolutely amazing. The 4.5 litre Bentley. Now, a car that is quite dear to my heart, ladies and gentlemen. The TII 2002 from 1974. Hello. I'm very good. I love a 292. It's actually my first ever car that I ever owned was a TII. Proud to tell you about that. But tell us a bit about this, because it's quite special.
First of all, you were a lucky chap. Let's face it, that's a good first car. This car is quite special due to being restored. Welded the wings with that servo, but they're not stuck on the arm, they're quite
So without really knowing it, I bought one of these as my first car, and I stumbled into something that I felt was well ahead of its time from an engineering perspective, a Kugelfischer injection, if I'm not mistaken. And an injected car in 1972-34 was just very unusual and well ahead of its time. And obviously this sort of set a sort of benchmark that a lot of the later, more famous models followed. Would you agree? Thank you, Mr. Hunt, you saved me there. But no, they are amazing to drive, and they're still brilliant to this day. I mean, they drive really, really well and like a modern car.
Well, the automatic show fuel injection, so the 70s guy in the British 70s car, show holding it, rev it line brake, and then spend 20 minutes trying to make sure it's nice and set before you set off. With this, it fires up first line one of those. To see you will quite a way, and I'm going to be far from that London traffic, and you know, it's at perfect line of speed the whole way through.
which I secretly love. Okay, I'm going to cross over again to left-hand drive. From Romans International, we have a Ford GT, ladies and gentlemen, in a very, very tasteful specification. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how are you doing?
Very good. So, Romans International, you guys are not far from here down in Surrey. Tell us a little bit about Romans International, because you've been going a long time now.
We have, yeah, I'm not sure of the exact amount of years we've been going for, but Paul and Tom Jack really run the business. I've been doing so for 2 generations so far. Still very much a family-run business, but our size has grown over the years. If anyone's familiar with the business, we started with one showroom, then took over the pub next door, leveled that, extended our showroom, took over the showroom next to our showroom, leveled that, made it our showroom. So yeah, we extended in size over the last 4 years.
So, and this Ford GT, tell us a little bit, it says fuel low, so we don't want to run out of fuel, but tell us a little bit about it. 2,000 miles on the clock. Come on, tell us a bit about the history of this one.
Yeah, so this is a 2018 car with 68 plate, like literally 17,000 miles. It's quite a nice spec without the stripe, the liquid grey. It's very special, they're made of these cars. Presumably it's not confirmed by over 50 or 100 meters in the UK, which this is an unpaid car. So quite rare to have in the supply. Most of the cars we see for sale in the UK are supplied to the so yeah, it's a lovely spec car, full PPM as well. As it's supplied to Rose, you get a row of Rose pattern warranty with the car. And obviously we have our name, which on the lovely cars, we do have the original certified for us as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for bringing it along, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls at Romans International with the Ford GT. Thank you very much indeed. Second of today. What a thing. Fabulous colour. And Romans International just down the road in Surrey. Okay, we go to Range Rover now, ladies and gentlemen, but not a normal Range Rover. This is a Kingsley Range Rover, ladies and gentlemen. And good afternoon, sir. Looks very civilised in there.
It is very civilised. It's a nice place to be.
So now most people recognise this as a Range Rover, but what is the differentiation of a Kingsley Range Rover?
So essentially we specialise in full multi-sport. So this car is actually the first prototype completely re-engineered to modernise the business system, completely rebuilt. But essentially the original was really the body shape, the chassis, and everything else is incorporated.
How many hours go into restoration?
Way over 2,000.
And if you wanted to build one today, you got a long waiting list, or you could actually buy this. But how long would it take to build something like this?
So this was a customer's car. He's moving back to LA, so he's commissioned with the building on Thursday. So this one's being for sale. I think it's sold early this morning. So the current wait list for a new commission is about 2 years. So the order book's pretty busy. Yeah, give or take.
Incredible that there's such demand for this sort of era of Range Rover. What do you put that down to? Obviously Kingsley have been one of those companies that put themselves out there as one of the leading specialists for resto mod Range Rovers, but the demand is still massively high.
Yeah, I think it's the nostalgia for a lot of our customers that remember their parents used to have these cars very younger. And it's just a real appreciation for the outlaw side. The only cars that we do in Christmas is very cool. And I think companies like Singer have done a huge amount to really elevate and show people what Western Mods can be like. And moving towards that, we also re-engineered Western Mod style, which is very important.
Thanks so much for bringing it on. One of the music cars in sold Range Rover. Thank you very much, Martin. But that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. This car was sold this morning. Someone saw it and just obviously wanted to buy it. So there it is. A reimagined Range Rover. Okay, next up, we go to Italy and something very, very exotic. It's Danny Donovan at the wheel. DD Classics, hello! Oh, you're exotic as well. Hello, Danny, nice to see you. Tell us a little about this lovely Ghibli, and in general, the Ghibli model, because it's a spider with a hard top, a very special thing. But the spider and the Ghibli, they are a very special thing that is very exotic.
This is one of only 4 right-hand drive, full thing, Tesla spider. It's the only one in the world that we've taken it over. And there are only 7 hard tops Ghibli spiders. It's totally restored. It's got great history. It's just one of the most Ghibli cars ever.
I couldn't agree more. And when this came out back in the day, the only comparable car was the Daytona, right? And our Daytona Spider is what, 2-3 million quid?
You're asking $799.
Incredible value when you think about it, right? And rarity, scarcity. Maserati is one of those brands that is really one for the connoisseur.
Well, good taste, so anybody who's got good taste, you can't pay the payments.
Very well put. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much, Danny Donovan. You've been in the industry a long time. You've seen it, many trends and many ups and downs. How do you see the market today, Danny?
Well, there's a lot of new money in the market chasing a lot of new cars. We've seen it before. And eventually, I can see when the market new, everything is new. There's new markets, and this is new markets. But then see for sure, and then types of older cars, the very older cars. So all things it's very fun with the super.
A man I had to thank from one of my first jobs in the industry. Thank you, Danny. Great to see you. Danny Donovan, DD Classics, of course, ladies and gentlemen, with the Ghibli Spider, with hardtop, a completely unique car. So we go from one Italian exotic to something more Swiss, in the form of the Monteverdi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Alan Carrington at the wheel of his 375L 1970 Monteverdi. These are very, very rare. You will very seldom see one of these cars, ladies and gentlemen. Alan, good afternoon, sir. The Monteverdi is something that really is very rare indeed. Tell us a bit about this brand and why most people don't really know what they are. You know, where do they come from?
They come from Switzerland. This particular vehicle was the very first 375L built by Peter Monteverdi at a run of 65. Predecessor was a 375S. It was still the same size as 440 Chrysler engine, smaller rear quarter glass. 375 stands for horsepower, and the L stands for luxury.
And luxury was the absolute calling card for this company, wasn't it? The quality of the wood, the quality of the leather, it was considered above and beyond anything else.
Yes, it was far more expensive than the equivalent of a Rolls Royce or an Aston Martin in its day. And I just love the brand. It's a fabulous brand. I love the shape of it, the concave. It's just fabulous. I just love it. Absolutely love it.
You've always loved, I've known you quite a long time, Alan, and you've always loved the left field cars, specifically French and in this case Swiss. The rarity, the scarcity, and what is it about ownership, the ownership proposition to the next person who wants to buy a car? Why are they buying a Monteverdi?
I think because it's a very special club to be in, and it's a very limited numbers for production. As you quite rightly say, they're not in every street corner. And it's the same we've had many Fassels, HK 500s, you know, Fassel 2s and stuff that we've restored over the years. I've gone to lovely people that have looked after them and still in contact with them. And this is the same thing. I've had a few Monteverdes in the past, but I actually built this one for myself. That's why it's taken so long. But just a labour of love, really. It's about 10,000 hours put into it. I'm not even going to mention the figures. It's eye-watering.
Alan, thank you so much for bringing it along. It's always great to see you, and what an amazing car.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you again. God bless.
Cheers. Thanks, Al. Alan Carrington, ladies and gentlemen, in the wonderful Monteverdi 375. Wow! Price of the V8, ladies and gentlemen. That was about as exotic as it got in 1972. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your eyes and your ears. We will see you back here hopefully tomorrow for some more fun. But for now, thank you very much indeed. we'll see you tomorrow.